Happy 4th of July, Americans, fellow Americans. Welcome to the in-person recording of Ridiculously Bored. My name is David Michael.
I'm Michael Carter.
And we are
Ridiculously Bored. So we're in the gymnasium this week, the Dave-nasium,
You don't need to
the
talk
Dave
that loud. The
Porium.
microphone's right there.
Okay,
Yeah, you're fine. Just like that.
that sadly would not be the first time somebody told me not to speak that loud. So because we're in the Dave-nasium, I was able to go through his hat collection. I picked out a couple hats for today. We're going to talk a few topics. I'm going to signal the changing of the topics by changing my hat. That's my plan.
Oh, okay. So when you're fed up with me, you're just going to swap hats? All right then, Michael, since you clearly have planned this out, what's the first topic going to be?
All right. So we both have young sons.
Yes.
Yours a little bit older than mine. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like just recently you found out that he is a 3-towel kind of guy. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So this happened actually a couple days ago. So, and it's a little bit of backstory. Every week when my son's with us, we, at the end of the week, we go through and make sure he does his laundry. Occasionally he'll forget to do it. So I go in there and I pull the laundry, and there's always a mound of towels in there. And I don't understand that either. So I thought he was being a little princess.
Like he was at a hotel?
And using a single towel every single shower and not reusing any towel, right? So I'm like, all right, that's got to stop because that's just a lot of laundry. What we ended up finding out is that he has a 3-towel system. He uses 1 towel for his hair and his head, 1 towel for his body, and 1 towel for his balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he doesn't like to mix his nuts with his face and his body. So he has 3 separate towels.
Which seems like a great system. I don't have a problem with the system.
You're a connoisseur of balls, so you know a lot about this topic.
Yes, I do. Not your son's balls, but thank you. So I don't have a problem with the system or the approach. What I have a problem with is there's a saying about chess, right? That the king and the pawns go back into the same box. So the thing that I have an issue with is he takes all 3 of those towels, basically rolls them all up and throws them in the same place anyway. So that's really the issue is, and I don't. He seems to say his system works where he knows which one was for his balls, which one's face and body.
He says they're 3 different colors.
All right.
So what I would like to do though is buy him a set of all the same colors, and then just mix them up every week.
Red, white, and blue balls. So that was something I discovered this week when I came out here. New hat.
New topic.
All right. Pizzle.
I saw this on the notes. I'm dying to know. I don't know. Maybe I'm not dying to know what this is.
I don't know if you aren't, but I found this out here, and I had to look it up here. So, your dogs come in the other day, and they're chewing on something.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yes. So I say to your wife, "What are they chewing on?" And she warned me. She's like, "Do you really want to know?"
It's a bully
I'm
stick.
Like, yeah, I really want to know. So she's like, "Well, it has many different names." She goes, "But it's a bully stick, and it is bull dick."
It's essentially yes.
It's bull dick. So call it what you want. It's bull dick. So while most people might be disgusted by it, I'm like, I got to see this package. So first thing, not the Bulls package, just the package that it came in. So the first thing I do is I go run, which tells them where they are. I go look at it, pull out the bag, and I'm like taking photos and I'm sending it to people. I also had to look up what Pizzle was because it said the only ingredient was Pizzle. And so when you Google or dictionary.com Pizzle, it says the penis of an animal.
Yeah.
So your dogs snack on dick.
Yeah. By the way, all dogs snack on dick. It's a very common thing for dogs.
If you date one in college, you're doing all right. So, are you worried then if the dogs one day turn on you, they're going to go for your dick? They've gotten a taste for dick.
I thought you were going to say, am I worried if they're going to want to trans into a different gender or something like that? No, not concerned at all. The dogs are the little miniature schnauzers. I could punt them.
All right. So my week's off to a great start. I learned a new term, Pizzle. I will probably use it more times than not this week. I will try not to use it saying for schnizzle my pizzle, because then we'll get caught for cultural inappropriation, but we'll see.
Dog inappropriation? You think
Maybe.
PETA's going to come after us?
I don't know.
By the way, this episode is sponsored by PETA,
Yeah.
People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
And PETA goes great with hummus. All right.
All right. Next topic.
Well, you can go to one of yours.
Oh, we can go
New
on.
hat.
So being that it's 4th of July, we decided to have a bunch of family members over. We picked up my dad, which if you've watched the show before, as you know, he has Alzheimer's. We also picked up some other family members, and one or two of them may or may not have been diagnosed with some form of dementia. So not necessarily Alzheimer's. So they're in the same room and they're eating. And I didn't hear this, but I heard this from another member of the family, that they were telling each other the same stories over and over and over.
You just
again.
need one solid story. If you have a person with dementia and a person with Alzheimer's.
What is that conversation like? I mean, you just keep telling the same stories back and forth.
But think about how great that is. You can summarize your life into one story. You can fine tune it over many years, and then that just be the story you keep telling
Over and,
And
over,
over.
and over.
Well, because there's got to be a big piece that becomes muscle memory, right? When you're telling this story.
Yeah. So I just thought that was pretty funny to bring up. The other thing was my dad's kind of at a point where he's incontinent. He can't necessarily, well, he's not really there yet, but he's almost to a point of where he needs help.
Mm-hmm.
But he's too stubborn and old and Italian to admit it. So before I was taking him back to his apartment, he went to the bathroom. All right. And he forgot to shut the door. We're all sitting out in the living room. We all heard it. And we're like, oh, man, all right, whatever. So, but everybody knows. So it's like not a big deal. So then I grabbed him. We left. I dropped him off. I come back. And my wife has this look on her face like, you motherfucker. Apparently, he peed all over the floor. Didn't tell anybody. Didn't fix it up. Didn't clean it. Left. And then when she went in there to go to the bathroom, she ended up stepping in it and then had to clean it up afterwards.
If I had gone in there, people would have been asking, why is Michael taking a shower right now? I would have fucking went right into the shower after that. Yeah, so my mom has those problems as well. But like at the nursing home, they do it. And my dad goes, he tries to help with that stuff. I'm like, if I'm there and she has to go to the bathroom, I call somebody. I'm like, I'm not dealing with that stuff. I'm not dealing with that shit, no pun intended.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the other thing though, that you said your dad went to the bathroom. And the funny thing is the bathroom is 2 rooms away, let's say, from the living room where we all were. And you could hear clearly somebody pee. And I'm like,
but it sounded like he was peeing in the water, though.
The door's open. Well, you got to remember, like when you pee, if you got a good pee going, you could easily pee in the water, out of the water, in the water, out of the water. You know, stormtrooper that thing. What were you going to say? I
was going to say, while we're on the topic of your parents, don't ask me why this thought popped into my head last week. Oh, I know why. Because someone had mentioned something about conjugal visits.
Okay.
And so I'm like, which prison systems allow conjugal visits? Because if I'm ever going to go to jail, I want to make sure I go to the one that allows it, right? Well, apparently federal prison systems do not allow conjugal visits.
So don't do a federal crime.
So yeah, you don't want to do club fed, whatever you do. So your mom's in a home right now. Do they allow conjugal visits?
Well, you've heard me tell stories before. They've talked about how they don't really have sex anymore. So
right,
I don't know.
But that was
really
like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if that changed or not.
I don't. Technically, he's allowed to sleep over if he wants.
Okay, so she has her own bedroom.
She has her own bedroom. The door. I don't know if it has a lock on it. I'm assuming no, but you can put there's some people who put signs up. Like there's a neighbor that says, "Oh, they must have locks actually," because the neighbor I just recently saw one that said, "This door is to remain locked at all times when the patient's not in the room." So they must have locks on them. I don't know. I also don't think you're factoring in if you go to jail that your conjugal visits will be in your cell. I think you're leaving that out of the equation. So it might not be somebody you love, but there will be some sort of love happening.
All I'm saying is I need more information on this. So to all of the prisoners that listen to this podcast, please comment below and let us know.
Yes, we'll find out. And I will ask my parents if they're having sex at the nursing home.
Fantastic.
All right.
So stay tuned for a future episode for that info.
Another hat. All right. So I want to talk about a little bit about the food you made yesterday. So the food was great. I'll start there. So there's no setup here on the food. But your wife was telling a story about the ribs that you made, I guess, relatively recently or last time, where she
It
said
was probably 6 months ago.
you burnt the shit out of them and you had to order in.
No, what ended up happening was it was similar. It was like Memorial Day or Labor Day, where we're like, all right, let's get a slab of ribs. Let's slow cook them on the grill. So I have a fairly nice grill, but it's got a drip pan underneath it. And anyone that's owned a grill knows that if you have a drip pan, you have to clean it.
Yep.
Otherwise, it collects grease. And then what happens is the grease catches on fire literally every time.
Yep.
I had cleaned it the time before, but apparently I didn't do a good enough job. So I put the ribs on, put it on low, like, the temp was maybe 150 inside the entire grill, right? And then just walked away because that's like a 4-hour thing.
Yep.
Like you put them on at 10, lunch is at 2. Like that's the way that it works. So put them in, went inside. There was probably some football on or some sport. We were watching it. Next thing I know, I look behind me and there's flames shooting out the back on the patio. So I run out there and the whole grill is on fire. And I open it up and of course there's freaking, the ribs are just charred on the bottom. Ironically though, there was like 2 or 3 slabs in there. The tops were fine. The bottoms were just completely charred, but the tops were fine. So we ended up taking them out, taking a fork, and like I scooped all the meat off because now it was just fall off the bone, like, soft.
So you had by default pulled pork
We
sandwiches
had
that
pulled
day?
pork sandwiches that day. So it actually worked out pretty well. But yeah, the grill caught on fire.
So I took apart. So we've had our house now a year and a half. We got a new grill last year. I took it apart before this season started. And I was shocked on. So first of all, I'm not very handy, right? So I didn't build the grill.
We've established that.
But I took off the 3 or 4 grates, the 3 or 4 covers on the inside. I didn't take off because you're supposed to actually take out like the fire units as well. Yeah. I'm not taking that. I'm never going to get it back together. So I took apart, I'd say 80% of what you should take out, I took out. I was fucking surprised how much like oil, garbage, fat shit was in there from just 1 year of using it. Cleaned it all out, did a great job. But then after like one other barbecue, it felt like it was relatively back in the same point. Like everything still had that soot kind of cover to it. You still had stuff on the walls. There's still sometimes fires catch, like if I make some steaks because of the fat dripping and stuff. So I'm thinking about going to those. I've seen them a lot recently where it's just like a aluminum grill grate cover. I don't know if you've seen them in a restaurant or stores. Sorry. It basically looks like your grill, but it's a little bit harder aluminum foil, and you just put it out on top of it. So you still get the grill, you still get the lines, but you just take that shit, rub it up, and throw it away when you're done.
Yeah.
So thinking of going to that.
So here's the problem I have with that. Part of the flavor profile of grilling is the actual grill itself, right? Like, when you buy a grill, you can't just start cooking on it. You have to season it first, right? And part of that seasoning is like oiling the grates, and you cook a few times. What ends up happening is over the course of like 6 months of grilling, it builds up this like the rods on the grates are like covered in like fats and oils and all sorts of shit. That's part of the flavor that you get in a lot of things that you grill. So like by doing what you're thinking about doing, I think you're going to lose a little bit of that. You'll still cook the food, but you're just going to lose that whole grill flavor. And the other thing is, if you don't spray that stuff down with some sort of an oil coating, it's going to stick right to the meat. Did you ever smoke in your grill? Like, other than this one time you had a fire, but did you ever use like they sell the smoker? Yeah. So what you do, so you can buy a little, like, it's like a metal box, right? And it's got a couple holes in it. What you do is you buy like mesquite wood chips, which I actually do have out in the garage. You soak them for a couple of hours. All right. Once they're done, you drain it, you wrap them up in like tinfoil, or you can put them in the smoker box, and then you put that in there. And then what ends up happening is the water in the wood starts to give off its smokes after a while. It's not the same. Like if you buy like a legit smoker or a pellet smoker, the flavor's not gonna, those things are hands down going to taste 10 times better, right? Because there's just more smoke, more flavor. But it kind of gets the trick. It'll give it a little bit of a smoky flavor. You can also buy something called liquid smoke at the supermarket, which is like, it's almost like, I don't know, almond extract. It's like super concentrated. You throw it on a rub or like a marinade, and then it adds that smoky flavor as well. It's still not the same as having a smoke.
So if you use the liquid smoke and you bring in the food, do you tell everybody you've been smoking it for hours, or do you fess up?
I think anyone can probably taste the difference.
Yeah. El Guapo has a actual smoker that he uses, But he's like got one of those newfangled ones. It has a fucking, you can electronically monitor the temperature.
Yeah,
You
they
get
make it foolproof,
notifications. Yeah, it's crazy. So it's a very big process that he goes through when he's doing that. All right. So this morning, and once again, new hat,
New topic.
new topic.
I'm actually shocked all my hats fit you.
I had to adjust them before we started. I had to test them. Though I will say, I have a pretty big head, and there wasn't many adjustments I had to make on some of these.
I have a big head too.
So you have the Ram 150, is it right?
It's a Ram Rebel 1500. Yeah.
Ram Rebel 1500. The truck is fucking massive. And while we're here, we're gonna get truck titties for it because you said it's a female truck. we're definitely finding those.
We're not getting truck nuts yet.
Not truck nuts, but we're gonna try to find truck titties somewhere. So this morning for breakfast, we decided to order something, go out and grab it, right? And a little bit of background. My wife is, as anybody listening probably knows, she's Asian. And Asians do not necessarily have the best track record for driving. School, they're great, but driving. And so much so, now this is not a white guy telling you this.
Do we talk about stereotypes? Do we have to have some sort of discussion about what we can and we can't say? I mean, just because you're married to an Asian
hashtag yellow fever.
All right, fine. I'm not
So,
touch it.
yes, the topics explained by Michele are not supported by the other members of the Ridiculously Bored podcast. That way you can't control. I'm married to one. So, but so much so that her and I have been driving on the road, and when somebody's driving really bad, and my wife looks over and it's an Asian person, and unfortunately, more times than not, an Asian female, my wife looks over, notices it, doesn't say anything, and just puts her head down in shame. Oh my God, it's one of my people. And backing up a little bit, she was driving once with her cousin, who's also Asian, and there was a female Asian driver who was horrendous. They said they were telling me the story. They said she was horrendous. They said my wife was complaining about the ladies driving, and her cousin goes to her, "Well, you have that to look forward to, being an Asian woman." So she said this morning, I'll go with you because it's about 109 already as soon as we woke up.
Yeah.
David said, "Do you want to come with me?" And I said, I'd rather not. So she's like, "I'll go with you." And you were like, "Yeah, sure, fine." And she said, "But only if I can drive." Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it actually happened, but I'm relatively sure I felt like this. Because now you've been put in the spot where whether or not you want to let her drive, you kind of got to, because then you're just being a dick if you don't, right? So you're like, "Yeah, sure." So she just sits there. Now a couple minutes go by, and you're like,
actually, I think I was like, "Hell no, you're not driving my truck." And then finally I was like, "Oh, all right, fine, you can drive my truck."
Yeah. So she's just sitting there, and you're like, "We got to go. You're gonna get changed." And she was like, "Huh, what?" She's like, "You're gonna let me drive?" And you're like, "Yeah, as long as I'm in the truck with you, you can drive. Let's go." So you guys leave. We pretty sure we dialed 911. We made sure your insurance was up to date, and you guys leave. So how was the experience when you were out with her?
It was fine. I mean, she hit one curb, but I mean, I hit curbs all the time. It's a massive truck. It's like driving a bus. It's not like driving a car. You can't just pull into a parking spot. The turning radius is 1/8 of the turning radius of every other car I've ever driven. It's just big and beefy and unwieldy.
How did you feel about her start stops? Because that's something that I've noticed. She's the one where if it's a light and 10 more feet's a light, I don't think she does it intentionally. I don't think she's let me see
wait till
how.
the last minute. Yeah.
No, it's let me see how fast I can get to that light to then slam on the brakes. But she doesn't do it intentionally. But when I'm in the car with her, I'm this constant back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
So
you know what? I drive the same way. My wife gets on me all the time. It's not so much I want to. Part of it is it's a big engine. I just installed a brand new exhaust on it, and the exhaust sounds amazing when you floor it. So you just want to floor it. It's the truck. It's not me. It probably isn't your wife. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's the truck. The truck wants to be driven hard. And I installed this thing. I think we talked about it before. It's called a Pedal Max. It actually it removes the latency between when you step on the throttle and it gets to the engine, right? Because all modern cars, when you step on the throttle, there's a little bit of a 1 or 2 second delay before the engine kind of vrooms, right? This thing removes it. So while she was driving, I'm like, hey, you want to have some fun? So I cranked it all the way to the top. And all of a sudden it was like, like that. And she was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So that was kind of funny. But other than that, she did fine.
So maybe what we'll do this week is we'll have her drive your regular car this week and see how you feel about that. All right. Yeah, I was just curious. All right. I got one more hat.
All right, one more hat. What's the topic?
We have no topic.
We don't have a topic?
No.
All right, then I think, man, I shut my phone off, so we don't even have, I know what the question was. What is, so this is, we used to do this segment called One Crazy Question.
Mm-hmm.
We can call it One Crazy Question, whatever. Well, as you can tell, the topic for today is the visit.
Yes.
So the question was, what is one thing, if you can change one thing about yourself, like what's the one thing that you've been trying like your entire life to like get over that hump, or what's the one thing that you think that you could potentially improve about yourself?
Well, see, this is where then I start talking about stuff like, I once talked about, I want to learn the guitar, but I don't really want to play.
No, this is got to be like,
you're like, you can, you just sit down. I'm being so fucking lazy.
Therapy
I
101.
thought this was a safe space.
Yeah.
Safe space. You know what it is being a big guy my whole life, it's definitely the weight, right? Because there's times when the frustrating thing, even for myself, is like, I know what's the healthy option, and sometimes I don't choose it. So the one thing I would change is I would try to eat healthier. Now, again, I know that's something that you can do. It's within your control, all that good stuff. So that would definitely be one thing that I would like to change, but I'm only willing to put so much effort into it.
Yeah, so that's,
Here we go. It's the guitar all over again. I told you.
I will tell you, and I tell this to anybody, you have to want it more than you want that extra cheeseburger, that extra pancake, that ice cream. You have to want it more than that.
Ironically, David has just run down the last couple things we've eaten. That was not just pulled from the sky. We had pancakes for breakfast. We had burgers the other night. He just ran down his fucking menu.
Judge.
The only thing that was missing was the ribs from yesterday. And yourself?
It's mind over matter. My big thing is,
how about not judging people as soon as they tell you the one thing they want to change?
I can't help it. I've tried. I'm just going to be that way for the rest of my life. I don't know. I've always had this, and you know this. You've actually brought this up a couple times about me. I've always had this kind of perfectionist mentality, which if I do something, I kind of go hardcore at it. Perfect example. The wife and I went on vacation. We talked about it last week. We did stand-up paddleboarding. We got home. Boom, we bought stand-up paddle boards with all the equipment, and like we just went full on. I wish I was, I had a little bit more self-control when it comes to stuff like that. Like, you can argue that it is self-control, it's just too much, but I would say that, you don't need to have everything, and you don't need to like go all out on everything. And I find it really hard to passively do something.
But isn't it one of the things that, I know it's kind of quote unquote what makes you you, but if you didn't have those things, right? If you didn't have that drive, if you didn't have that, I got to be good at this, right? Like you might not be where you are, because you might, and look, I'm not looking to pick on toll collectors for the toll collectors who listen, but like the toll collector, you go to work, you do your job, your day's over, right? You're never thinking about it. It's not like, what do I got to do tomorrow? Fuck, I forgot this today. Your job's over. Mm-hmm. So they might not have that mentality of, I want to do the next thing. I want to take this on. I want to get better. I want to move up. Like that kind of approach. So, do you think you'd be giving some of that drive up? Like you might not be as successful as you are in your career. You might not make as much as you make. You might not have your family. Like all of those type things that might go along with it. Do you feel that there's that risk?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Most likely, yes. For me, it stems back to childhood. Like, we didn't grow up in the best neighborhood, right? And we saw some stuff that we shouldn't have seen as kids. And I've always said, like, I don't want my kids to witness the stuff that we witnessed when we were young. Drug deals in front of us, like homeless people, like doing crazy shit while we were playing basketball, like 20 feet away from us, like all sorts of just like stuff that you don't want your kids to see.
Right.
So I always told myself, like, I was never going to bring kids into this world if they were going to experience the stuff that we did. So that was one. And two, like when I was in like grade school, like I wouldn't say I didn't get picked on a lot, but like I was never good. I was never great at anything. Like, I played baseball, but I was okay. I played basketball, but I was okay. Like I never kind of got over that hump of what it took to go to the next level. So when I was an adult and all of a sudden you have access to computers and the internet, and I mean,
Porn.
Sure, I'm really good at that as well.
Googling porn.
No, but like all there's no longer, like when you and I were playing basketball when we were kids, we taught ourselves.
Mhm.
So we didn't have a coach. We didn't have access to trainings and tutorials and videos and Steph Curry's masterclass. Like that stuff didn't exist. So we had to deal with what we had. But now we live in a world where like literally just pick what you want to do. There's a guitar right there, by the way, if you want, before we leave this week. I'll teach you how to play guitar.
If you're not paying attention when we leave, I'll just pack it.
There's like 7 more. Don't worry, I got plenty. Again, I have a problem.
Yeah.
But like there's no longer an excuse to not be good at something.
Agreed.
All of the barriers have been removed, assuming you have access to basic things like the internet, a phone, a car.
Right.
I mean, like all the barriers. So why not? Like if I can pick something like playing the piano or collecting masks or photography, and all I need to do is spend a few hours at night every night for a couple of months and pick up all the fine-tuning details on how to do it, why not? Like what?
Yeah.
Or I could just sit in front of the TV and veg all day long and not gain anything.
Explain that to me a little more, would you? No.
Well, sure, it's what you did for most of the last 2 days.
Yes. While we were doing the burgers and the pancakes and the ribs. So again, David's like the fucking mind of a goldfish, man. He's just talking about shit around him. He talked about the masks, which are over here. He talked about the cameras, which are over here. The piano's behind me. You might not be able to see it. I'm dealing with a goldfish. So a couple things for this week. While we're together, we're going to try to record a couple.
Yeah.
And you've noticed, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you are, comment below what you think. We've changed up the layout a little bit. We're now actually facing each other, directly across from each other. You got a table up here. You move the mic, all that different stuff. So it's a different view. So we're going to do a couple things this week. One, and it's funny that you talked about it a little bit, New Rochelle. I want to talk about growing up in New Rochelle because relatively recently, one of my cousins said to me, because he grew up on the other side of town, he's like, "Oh, New Rochelle wasn't that bad." And every other cousin who was at the table was like, what? So I want to talk a little bit about that. Just some of the stuff we've seen, experienced, just kind of an episode on New Rochelle. We also have talked about, which was your plan, we're going to do in essence, a blind taste chicken sandwich challenge. We're going to do all the big fast food places.
Chicken.
Yeah, we're going to do the Chicken, the Chick-fil-A. I think you have a Popeyes out here. There's a McDonald's one, a Wendy's one. We're going to get a bunch. We're going to do a blind taste test on those. Just we thought it would be fun and interesting and a little, and who doesn't want to eat lunch? That's my wheelhouse. So one thing, though, that you left out from when you were a kid, you said you weren't great at anything. One thing you were great at was picking a friend.
Yeah.
And I'm Michael Carter.
And I'm David Michael.
And we are ridiculously bored.